Welcome to the Mama Truth Show, where soulful mamas embrace the whole truth of the messiness and magic of motherhood. Check us out at mamatruthshow.com. Here's your host, Amy Ahlers, the Wake Up Call Coach.
Happy Mama Truth Monday, mamas. It's Amy Ahlers here, the Wake Up Call Coach, and welcome to another Mama Truth Show where we are going to go deep because you know I love going deep. So I really wanted us today on this show to talk about your soul's journey into motherhood and the experience that we have as women on a very spiritual path, which I know so many of you mamas out there are, and what it really takes as far as our soul, from our soul's perspective, what it takes for us to come back to ourselves after becoming moms, what the journey is to becoming a mom in and of itself, and so much more. So I brought on a very special guest for you today. She is truly extraordinary. You're going to love her accent. I will say that as well. And she's even going to take us on a journey on this call today. So let me please welcome the amazing Sonia Sommer. She is a master healer who merges cutting edge science with ancient wisdom techniques. She's actually drawing on over 25 years of experience as a structural integration practitioner. That's a lot to say. A mindfulness teacher, and a modern day shaman. Her clients include professional athletes, talented people you've probably seen in the movies, tired moms, can I get an amen, and amazing CEOs that are actually feeling really drained. After working with her, clients experience optimum well-being while learning tools to live a deeply happy and passionate life. You can visit her over at soniasommer.com, and you will definitely also see that in the show notes. So with that, Sonia, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Amy. I'm so excited to be here and talk to our fellow mums.
Yes. So I am curious. I would love for you to share just for a moment here, because I know that you've studied with incredible shaman all over the world and really gone deep into all of the different tools and techniques that you teach and work with your clients on. I would love to hear a little bit about your specific journey to being this incredible shaman like you are today.
Yeah, that it sounds really mystical and magical, doesn't it? And
it does.
The main thing I'd like to get across today is that I'm just the same as everybody else, and I'm a mum too. My daughter's just about to turn 14.
Wow.
And so I really want to bridge the gap between all the things that you described me as and the everyday woman, and so that people know that they can access their own inner shaman to reclaim their power and their own ability to, be at their best. So,
well, I love that. I love that you're saying that, because this is one of the things that I think is so incredible about you, is how down to earth you are, how you like we can see ourselves in you, and you also have these incredible gifts that are really do feel very mystical, at least to me, and very magical, certainly.
Yeah, and well, I think that being Australian helps me keep it real, because if I ever get too big for my boots, one of my family members is going to remind me who I am. And, again, what you say about it seeming magical and mystical, remember that that's how it used to be when we were little kids.
Yeah, so true.
That's actually normal.
Yeah.
And, so I really want to re-empower my clients and anyone with whom I come into contact with, to re-enchant the world for them, so that life is magical and mystical and easy and fun and, effortless. So to answer your question about my journey, really, I have to say it began with motherhood.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it began when I was little. I've always been highly sensitive, which mostly was just really a pain in the ass, because we know what it's like to be highly sensitive. But it all really came busting through when I gave birth and found myself with this new little baby. And there I was living in a foreign country. I actually went through divorce pretty soon after with my wonderful ex-husband. We're still great friends, but pretty much everything came unstuck. I didn't have my body anymore. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And my, emotions were all over the place. I had bad postpartum depression, no family around, didn't know who I was, and kind of got on my knees and prayed for help. And of course that prayer was answered, because it always is, and one thing led to another, and I found myself pretty soon studying with shamans in Peru, who I had dreamt about in a lucid.
Wow.
Yeah, it was all quite magical how it happened, and that's the norm for all of us when you step onto the spiritual path. So it took a couple of years to kind of integrate that spiritual aspect and the wisdom that I learned from my teachers in Peru. But really, I feel like the gateway of pregnancy and birth into our higher, more powerful woman selves is available to all of us, and such a critical moment.
What do you find with the moms specifically that you work with? What have you noticed any patterns of what happens to a woman's soul when she walks through that initiation of becoming a mom?
Yeah, it's pretty common for all of us to experience similar things. The shamans would describe it in some ways as that we're being dismembered. Certainly feels like that physically.
Yeah.
And in order for us to be reborn in a new way. But what happens in our society is that because we're not really very well supported as new mums, we're kind of given maybe a week at best to kind of have a bit of a rest and get it back together, and then often are forced back into the world prematurely, back to work, back to taking care of ourselves and our new baby. And so we get stuck in between the stage of dismemberment and our new becoming of our new evolved self as a woman and mother. And so our soul starts to become disoriented and fragmented.
When you say the word soul, what does that mean for you and in the work that you do with so many incredible people and women and moms?
Yeah, it's essentially the essence of who we are. It's our unique gifts that we bring into the world. And we all have, a pure essence. It's who we were when we were little kids before everything got way too serious.
Yes.
And we started to grow up and be the way we're supposed to be. But it's your essential self, and it's also your power.
So I'd love for you, I feel like I'm just like itching for us to have you take us on a little journey, because I know that I can feel that there's moms that are listening that feel that sense. And now even I would say with my youngest now being 3, I really felt like after the 3-year-old mark, and she's going to be going to preschool in the fall, part-time, and like there's like a big shift happening right now for me, and I can feel it in my body, I can feel it in my cells, I can feel it in my spirit. And I know that there's other moms that are listening that still feel like there's parts of them that that are scattered, that are not, that we haven't reclaimed yet, or we haven't really integrated yet into that new version of ourselves, that dismemberment is still happening, that it's still out there. And so I would love for people to just, because we can sit here and talk about it, but let's have them experience it so that these moms can really have some sort of sensation of what it's like to work with someone like you, work with a shaman, like work on that soul level.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. And, just before we begin, the piece that you said about now that your youngest is 3, it seems to be that the first year or so we're kind of in this haze of lack of sleep and and all of that stuff. But at a certain point, we get a bit of sleep and we start to maybe feed ourselves a little better and have some better self-care. And then it's that piece of our soul starts kind of nagging inside our head for us to get on with it and become who we're, the beautiful new woman who we're becoming. And so that's that feeling of like, okay, come on, what's the next thing for me? Where am I at now?
Yeah.
So to just say a couple of things about going on a shamanic journey. It sounds, again, really mystical, but it's actually just a way to access your own inner wisdom and guidance. It's also a way to receive instant, often, healing and assistance from the unseen aspect of reality, whatever you'd like to call that, where we have spirits, guides, helpers, power animals, all that juicy good stuff that we just can't quite see all the time. So I'm going to use a drum beat, and that just helps us access a different brainwave frequency, which allows us to journey. If it's your first time journeying, I'd encourage you to just trust what happens. Okay. Awesome. We have a strong rational brain that's going to sit there as well and go, well, am I making all this up? I don't really believe. Just kind of turn that brain down a bit. It's okay if it's there, and just trust. It's very natural for every single human being to be able to journey. It's our birthright. So just trust what's going on. Don't do this if you're driving, of course. And let's see what else. The things that you will see, hear or feel, not everyone sees. Some people get information with their other senses. It generally comes in the form of some type of metaphor. Okay, so you may get, some people get really obvious, clear information and visions and what have you, or words, and other people get metaphors which will mean something to you. So be prepared to be surprised by what you experience. Okay.
Awesome. And I'm assuming that it would be good for people to have like a piece of paper or journal or something nearby to take some notes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just a blank piece of paper. Maybe you've got some of your kids' crayons lying around.
Yeah, exactly.
Even better. You can do a little drawing right afterwards. Just take a couple of notes, and you and I can just kind of debrief afterwards and give people a few tips on what to do next.
Perfect. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch over to speaker view. I'm going to mute myself and switch over to speaker view. So we just have you on camera.
Okay.
Well, that's my goal. We'll see if this actually works. I think this will work.
All right. And I'm going to unplug my earplugs for the moment so you can hear my drum as well. So I invite you to close your eyes and sit comfortably. Take a nice, long, grounding breath all the way into the soles of your feet. Knowing that you're safe and supported and protected here in this sacred space as we prepare to journey. Listen to the sound of the drum beat as it carries you off into the unseen world. Until you find yourself in a beautiful place in nature. Could be somewhere you've been before or somewhere new. Wherever you find yourself is exactly the right place. Look around you. You
Use all of your senses to discover where you are. What do you see? Plants, waters, maybe some animals. What are the smells? Can you smell the flowers and the trees? Feel the air temperature. Listen to the sounds around you. Sit comfortably knowing that you're safe and supported and deeply loved by the Mother Earth. Remembering that she mothers you the way you mother your own children. And from this deeply nurturing, held space, call on your essential self, the lost part of your soul. Say that you're here to reclaim your soul and your soul's power. And watch and listen and smell and hear what comes. You might be surprised at what form it comes in, but you'll know exactly what it is. Now ask your soul part, what do you need to reintegrate back into me and my life? What do you need to do? How do you need to be? And make a promise here and now to take care of, nurture, and reintegrate your essential self, your soul essence, so that it can grow and thrive. The same way you take care of your children, the same way the earth takes care of you. Then allowing your soul's essence to merge and integrate back into you. Feel yourself breathing it in. Notice what it feels like to be yourself again, but better. Look around you at your beautiful place in nature. With deep gratitude, thank that place, thank the earth for holding you sacredly on this soul recovery journey. Take a nice deep breath in, knowing that you can come back here anytime you want. Start to return to your regular time, space, reality, wherever you were sitting when you started the journey. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Feel your feet on the floor. Whenever you're ready, open your eyes. Move your body around if you have to. And feel what you feel like. How is it to have your soul back inside you?
Thank you so much, darling. Whew.
Take a couple of notes if you'd like to draw a picture, whatever you need to kind of anchor this inner knowing of your true self for the moment. And I'll give you some other things to do later to really integrate.
Beautiful. So amazing. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
Do you have any words for your experience?
No, I'm all blissed out, everybody. I'm like, oh. Well, you know, it was interesting because I just got back from vacation with my family, which was up in the forest, really, you know, very lush lakes, big, huge pine trees, creeks and rivers, you know, like just mountain icy lakes, like rocks you can jump off into the lake. That kind of scenery. So it was really easy for me to suddenly go back there, but it was such a different experience to go back there and not have my kids around that I'm like trying to make sure the 3-year-old has her floaty on when she goes in the water and, you know, all that micromanaging that happens when you're a mom.
Right.
Really be there with myself. And I recently had this interesting experience where I was thinking about my maiden name, which before I got married, my name was Amy Grant. And I was really excited to actually take my husband's name when I got married because there's that Christian rock singer named Amy Grant. So I was, you know, every time it was like, Amy Grant, oh, do you sing? You know, and then I do like the whole baby, like do her like my little imitation of her. So I always, you know, jokingly said to my husband, hey, you know what, if we ever end up, like, I'm so excited to just take another name. But people used to always call me Amy G. And I really felt this sense of the part of me known as Amy G, which was pre-marriage, pre-mom, like just that really, in 20-something version of myself that was on fire about life, and, just discovered coaching and being a life coach and was so excited about it. Just that really new beginning energy, beginning on my spiritual path. That part of me really stepped forward and be like, what would it be like to really integrate Amy G into Amy Ahlers? and what is that part? And then the metaphor I kept getting was sunlight, sunlight, sunlight. So it felt like I was just drinking in sunlight and sunlight and sunlight and more sunlight. So it felt really cool. And it definitely was really neat to have that distinguisher for me of like Amy G, like bringing Amy G back. Really fun.
I love that. Did you get a sense of anything in particular that you need to do to really integrate that sunlight of Amy G?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things that I got. One was that particular like moment in time that I kept flashing upon was a time when I went to a 5 Rhythms dance class at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. So I definitely had that feeling around going back to dance class and how dancing, especially in 5 Rhythms, which is very free form and free and going through just these different rhythms, but it's not like you're in a dance class where you're learning steps or anything. Very free part. That doing some of that and bringing that back into my life, I think would really help that Amy G part of me emerge and become more integrated. So that was the biggest thing that I got action-wise. Yeah.
Beautiful. I must have partly tracked into your journey because I got a lot of dancing on mine as well.
Oh, so, yeah?
Well, maybe we need to go to a dance class together.
I know, right?
Yeah, love that. That's beautiful. And the piece about sunlight is interesting because really, to put it in a nutshell, we're essentially made of light.
Yes.
We eat plants, which contain light and blah, blah, blah. So when you do have a soul part come back into you, you often will see or feel light coming in. So clearly you've integrated Amy G back into your sphere. And then the next step is obvious to go to the 5 Rhythms dance class.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And I'll be looking for one in this area. Absolutely. And I just want to encourage all of you mamas that are listening to head on over to my Facebook page at facebook.com/Amy Ahlers Coach. You'll see this interview posted up there. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you were able to really retrieve. And I really wanted to also encourage all of you to visit Sonia's site because she has this full soul restoration kit that's free on her site. So you can visit that at soniasommer.com, which is spelled SONIASOMMER.com, soniasommer.com. And I know, Sonia, that you also have this really amazing, I know the program's almost full, but I know that you have this really incredible program that you're in the midst of inviting women to check out called Soul Power. And I wanted to also give that URL, mamatruthshow.com/soul power, and where people can check that out. Will you tell us a little bit about that particular program? Because I know it's different than anything you've done before, and it sounds so amazing.
Yeah, this is a way of working with women that I visioned in a couple of years ago, actually. And it really got anchored into me when I was recently in Peru in June with my teachers, the Kero shamans, who helped me really claim my own soul power in a newer, better way so that I can really help other people. So that people who come join me for this, it's a 6-month mastermind essentially for 10 people, so that I can impart the wisdom of my teachers directly into each of these women and really empower each and every one of them to become their own shamans, their own healers and wise women for themselves, and go on to create whatever their highest life will be, whether it's with work or their family or community roles. So I'm super excited to start this program. So thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, well, and I'm wondering, when people are disconnected from their soul power, or when they have that dismemberment, as you were saying earlier, what are some of the signs that they're feeling?
Yeah, I know these well myself, and I see this in almost every single mum that I work with, and there's a lot. That, you know, physically exhaustion, overwhelm, swinging emotions, depression, anxiety, or both, up and down, and then mentally and sort of feeling like, well, who am I now? You know, what's next? I don't know who I am. I'm not who I was, and I don't know who I am. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right work anymore. I'm not sure if I'm in the right relationship, or if I need to recreate, you know, my relationship, reinvent it, or leave, or, you know, there's a lot of a feeling of dissatisfaction, because your soul is trying to pull you into a newer, better version of yourself. And we think that we need to change everything on the outside. And certainly we do need to eat well and take care of ourselves, but we don't necessarily need to change any fundamentals. We often don't need to change relationships or jobs. We just need to recreate them in a way that reflects who we are now. So those are some of the things that I see really commonly.
Yeah, well, and I know that we have a lot of moms, of course, that listen to the show that have babies or toddlers, and there's a lot of moms who, you know, like you, have a teenager or a tween, or they have kids that have already flown the coop or are about to fly the nest, you know, flow the coop or what have you. And I feel like, especially because I have, you know, my daughters are 6.5 years apart, so I have this really interesting experience of having this, you know, almost 10-year-old that's going to be really is a tween in my eyes, and then this toddler. And I can really see how at each phase and stage of parenting, there is this reinvention. There's this opportunity, I feel like, for us to really reinvent ourselves, and to us to claim a new part of us back. There's like a piece of freedom that we get when they're no longer, you know, nursing babies or bottle fed babies or what have you, that where they need that, like, you're wearing them literally in a sling phase, to where, you know, like I sent my daughter off to summer camp for the first time and didn't talk with her for 5 days, and was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, which was, by the way, the next Mama Truth show. Stay tuned next week for that, my experience of that. But it's like, you know, at each phase, it feels like we have this opportunity to reclaim different parts of ourselves.
Absolutely. It's a mutually transformative experience, day to day, hour to hour, as you know. And so it's really important for us to have ourselves anchored fully on board, our power, our light within, so that we don't get toppled over by all those changes.
Totally. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I know we're wrapping up here. Again, I want everyone to go and check out the Soul Power program and Sonia's stuff. You can go to mamatruthshow.com/soul power, and Sonia's regular, you know, big site with this beautiful soul restoration kit gift is at soniasommer.com. So, okay. So Sonia, my last question for you, which I ask all the Mama Truth Show guests that are moms, is what's messy and what's magical about motherhood for you these days?
It's well, what immediately comes to mind is my 14-year-old daughter seems to be 35 or something. And here I am, this mystical, magical shaman who, you know, of course I do have the wisdom within, like we all do, but sometimes she'll parent me and go, yes. Mom, you just need to relax. You know, you seem really stressed out. And so that feels kind of messy, and also keeps me humble.
Yeah.
And, you know, really that's the magical part too, is that it's this beautiful dance between ourselves and our kids that just, you never know what's going to happen next, and who you're going to be next. And yeah, that's my answer to your question.
Awesome. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much for being here on the show and for taking us all on a journey and for reminding us that we do really at any moment have the power to reclaim those parts of ourselves. And just deeply thank you for bringing little Amy G, back into my life. I love it. So
Nice.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I want to send big hugs to all the mums out there. Just, you're fantastic. You're doing an amazing job. And just get your power back, and there'll be no stopping you.
Beautiful. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next week, it's Amy Ahlers signing off, reminding you to keep embracing the messiness and the magic of motherhood. Bye-bye, mamas.
Thanks for listening, mamas. Did you know that Amy has a new ebook out? It's called Sacred Self-Care for Moms, 7 Steps to Nurturing Yourself so you can be the mom you were born to be. And you can receive your free copy by going to sacredselfcarebook.com. That's sacredselfcarebook.com. And please don't keep the Mama Truth Show a secret. The biggest compliment you can give is to share the Mama Truth Show with your loved ones and write a review on iTunes. Until next time, keep embracing the messiness and the magic of motherhood.